Welcome to the Free Genies Project podcast. Today is a big day. Today is episode 10. Woo! And I am taking a break. This is funny. It's like, yes, we made it to this huge milestone, and now I'm taking a nap. But we are taking a break from the podcast, and I'm going to do something that I wasn't expecting to do. I am recording this completely scriptless, and I feel so cringe right now. Hey there, and welcome to the Free Genies Project, a space where transformation is about becoming, not performing. Because self-development isn't about fixing yourself. It's about freeing yourself. Freeing yourself from expectation. Hey there, and welcome to the Free Genies Project, a space where transformation isn't. Hey there, welcome to the Free Genies Project, a space where transformation is about becoming, not performing. Because self-development isn't about fixing yourself, it's about freeing yourself. Freeing yourself from expectations that don't fit, from stories that were never yours to carry, from rules that keep you from living fully, unapologetically like yourself. Each week, you'll hear real conversations, practical tools, and unfiltered truths, all designed to make self-growth feel natural and not like another impossible standard. This isn't just another self-help podcast. It's a movement, a space where we stop waiting for permission and start living life our way. So why wait for 3 wishes when you can start freeing your genie one step at a time? Let's go. I am going to be taking a little break sooner than expected because my immigration's appointments are coming soon and it feels very surreal. I've been here for a long time and I'm kind of freaking out. And I'm freaking out because this has been like such a process. If you've ever migrated, if you've ever had to start over in a different country, you know how hard it can be. And if you are from a country that you've had to flee because you didn't feel safe, living in that limbo of not knowing where you belong or where to call home, it's a challenge in and of its own. So I need space to exist in the plethora of emotions that I carry with me right now. But before I go and take that break, I do want to share with you a few of the things that I have learned in this process. Because this process maybe looks like it started on June 3rd when the podcast launched. Maybe it feels like it started the moment I posted the first teaser about this project. But for me, this project has been in the making forever. And I don't say that lightly. I feel like this project really is a reflection and a product of all the little things that I have started with the intent of sharing my mind and my lived experiences and the crazy fucking reflections and connections that I make about the world with people. I took on this project at a time where my passion for life and my curiosity were waking back up. I had a weird moment in my post-pandemic life where I felt like my passion was kind of gone. My narrative has been that I haven't felt quite like myself. and that I wanted to go back to 2020. And so I can see that it wasn't that I wasn't myself, it was that I was going through a lot of changes, a lot of newness, both good and bad. But with newness, even when it's nice, there is this feeling of loss. There is a feeling of loss for habits, for thinking patterns, for ways of living that you have to, leave behind. And so somewhere between the pandemic and 2024, I met my partner. I moved in with my partner. I got engaged with my partner. I married my partner. That alone is going to shake up someone's world, because even when it's something that I was so looking forward to. I mean, if you've listened to the dating episode, I've dated. I've used apps. I've been out there. I was ready to meet somebody that wasn't like about the bullshit and that was ready to lock it in. And I did. And that was amazing. That was one of like my biggest life goals, was like, I want to be partnered up. And that happened, right? And because that happened, there were a lot of things that I had to let go. And not because you have to change for a partner, but because it's a new dynamic. You start sharing life with people, you have to prioritize other things. Your life really does change a lot when you get partnered up. But that wasn't the only thing that was changing in my life. I had changed jobs like 4 times. I lost a fitness community that I was a part of. We had kind of like a falling out. And so that was really hard for me. I lost a grandparent. I mean, what else, I feel like this rush that I had to get back to myself was fueled by a deep sense of, I don't want to be in this hole, even when this hole has beautiful, amazing things that I've been dreaming about since I was little. I look back and I want to talk about the lessons that have helped me fuel that fire to show up to do something that I want to do. And this project truly has been one of the things that has helped me reconnect with that part of me that enjoys life and connecting and talking and learning and doing something new, and like losing herself for hours doing something that I don't know how it's gonna land. And so the first thing that I learned is that this has been the most consistent I've been at creating something since the new normal, like since the reopening. And at the same time, even though this has been super fun and super challenging and creative, and I'm very proud of how many episodes and how much work and how much support I've gotten, I still have such a resistance to being seen, to doing the thing, to coming on here and shutting all of my lights and, trying to make everything look good and creating this podcast for you. Because part of me still feels insecure and kind of like freaked out about maybe being cringe or not doing things right or showing up and realizing that it's only episode 10 and I might not look like somebody that's on like episode number 1000 and has a gigantic production crew behind them. So what I've learned, holding those two things together, right? Holding the fact that this is the most consistent I've been in so long, which for me, it's a massive win. The fact that I'm even recording this episode right now, I have a packed day tomorrow. I've been overwhelmed with the immigration stuff and I leave for a vacation. But I wanted to show up here because I have a responsibility with my accountability that I birthed this project. I have shown up too consistently for me to abandon my own ship right now in a way that I've abandoned it before. And when I abandon it, saying I need a break, I'm too overwhelmed, I just don't do anymore. But this right here, I want it to come back. And so that's how I'm holding these two realities of the win of the consistency and the resistance of being cringe. This is a win, but if I just stop out of the blue without explanation, without accountability, then this portion of the resistance, of the cringeness, has more power to creep in and silence the enthusiasm I have around this and the victory of the consistency that I've created. And I don't share all of this in like an egocentric, like, okay, Vanessa is going to tell me all of these things that she's learned. No, I'm sharing these things with you because, like all the lives be lifing. And we're always at some point or another going to be ridden by overwhelm and things that are on a deadline and big projects and big life milestones that might put us in overdrive. And we might also be in moments when we realize, like, wow, this is the most I've shown up for myself. And also, this is the moment where I want to sabotage myself. So I'm sharing these learnings with the intention and the hope that you find a little light bulb that goes off in your brain, in your heart, in your bodies about how any of this might apply to you as well. Another thing that I have realized, and this is definitely food for future situations that I do, is that I have no intent of launching things when the weather is nice. So launching the podcast on June 3rd was definitely a lesson on following the energy pocket and then realizing that I'm a tropical person, maybe we just have to take this podcast outside and record the damn thing in the grass every now and then. But for now, my insight, my thing that I have learned is that I want to have 2 big breaks, in terms of podcasts. And I know summertime for me is very active. So I want to make sure that I have space to follow that lead. The other phase, I guess, of that same learning is that I've realized, and this might not be a shocker for the people that know me, but how some reason, like for me, it continues to be a shocker, is that I don't know how to turn off. I'm always working on the next thing. I'm always producing, even when I'm not. And I think that is the other learning here. I know that I talk about this a lot, and I can see the importance of rhythms and pauses and pockets of productivity, but also pockets of rest when I'm talking about an abstract somebody else. But when it comes to doing it myself, it takes a lot of rewiring. And I say this so that we realize that we're all working on the things we're working. And that doesn't mean that we're full of shit. We all have a few loops that kind of like keep repeating and keep coming at us. And it's a thing that we work over and over again in different ways. And producing is one of those for me. I also have learned that life will do its thing, and life will come at you with opportunities, with challenges, with badly timed things. And sometimes we have a choice to say, you know what, I'll take all of these things or not. But sometimes we don't have a choice. And whichever one it is, there's such a difference in how we move forward when we have the ability to truly excel and understand that sometimes things don't go the way that we want, that sometimes we have to put things on pause, sometimes we have to press play on other stuff way faster than we wanted. When we can move through life and it's completely unpredictable nature, because as much as we want to think that we can predict a lot of stuff and that we can control a lot of stuff, and in a way we can influence the outcome of a lot of stuff, we really don't know where this car is going. And so the moment we put a direction in our GPS and we're driving to that direction and we reach a point where a tree is like literally smack in the middle of the road and we have to take a detour, the moment we can take that detour without giving ourselves shit or complaining about the fact that that tree was there and it's been there and goddamn that tree, the fucking tree, fuck the tree. The moment we can let the tree go and be like, oh, well, I guess this is the road we're taking and we're going to this new place and eventually we'll put the other direction on the GPS maybe, or maybe not. But we shall figure it out when we get to where we need to get. The moment we do that, the journey becomes a little less heavy. Even if we're still overwhelmed, it really makes a tiny but extremely important difference. And lastly, I wanted to make this connection, this analogy between something that happened in Formula One and life. And stay if you don't like Formula One or you have no clue what it is, because the analogy is universal anyways. This past weekend, one of the most persistent drivers finally made it to the podium. In Formula One, there are only 20 people playing the sport at all times. There are only 20 drivers out there that are Formula One roster drivers at a given season. And Nico Hülkenberg has been in Formula One for a while. And he is a really good driver, as you have to be in order to be one of the 20 people in the whole fucking world to be part of the sport. However, Nico had 200 and something races under his belt, and none of those races have resulted in a trophy for him until last weekend. And the amount of memes and the amount of buzz that has caused in my algorithm is something that sparks so many feelings. First, because we're Team Nico in this house. He also looks like Jonathan a little bit, or Jonathan looks like Nico. I don't know who was born first. And also because it's such a fucking cool story. And beyond it being a cool story, it is a story of perseverance. It is a story about doing what you want to do long enough. And even then, you're not guaranteed that your outcome is going to come to you. Nico had no clue whether or not this trophy was possible. Hell, there's a part of the interview after he wins. They're asking him like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And he was like, "I knew we had it in me." And then he pauses and says, "I knew I had it in me somewhere." And so that tells you that he's still in this holy shit, I can't believe I did this mindset. Right? So even after you've been at something that you want for like 200 plus iterations of the thing, getting there and being able to reach one of your goals or a version of your goal, that story, Nico Hülkenberg's story this past weekend, really is a reminder for everybody, you included, that when you want something, when you have a goal, when you have a dream, you know, some people get that goal and the dream, like, and it comes to them multiple times, 8 times, 7 times, 10 times. And it's like, oh yeah, that goal, I can do it with my eyes closed. And some of us, it's going to take a little longer. And I'm not talking here about the obvious difference in time and resources to reach a goal that comes with systemic oppression. I'm talking here like, let's pretend that we are having a one-to-one comparison. Some people get things faster, some people it takes a while. But the perseverance and the keeping showing up for something you love, for something you want. Honestly, I feel like in a way, in a very weird masochistic way, that makes the win more special. And so I say that to say that I am going to give myself grace for needing a moment. And I'm going to give myself grace for the version of me in 3 years that is going to stumble upon the first episode or the second episode or this episode. And it's going to cringe at the topic, at how fluidly or not fluidly I'm talking, or how the sound sounds, or the editing. I am going to send that version of me so much love and so much grace. And I'm going to hold it in this mental image of Nico Hulkenberg holding his Lego trophy for third place in the Silverstone Grand Prix. Because I feel like that image is the equivalent of that meme that has like the dude is like trying to find the diamonds and he gives up super early versus the other one that just keeps going and it's like so much closer to the fucking diamonds and it's like, don't give up. Don't give up. Take rests. You know, Nico Hulkenberg like took a break from Formula One. He did not have a seat for a few years and then he came back. So let that be a symbol, a reminder, a fire, a fuel, a something that allows us to take breaks, but also holds ourselves accountable for coming back and finishing the thing. And with that, my friend, I invite you to think, what is your thing? How do you need to take a break? Where do you need to pause? And how do you plan on making sure that you return? Because that is going to be the thing that maybe makes you be an eco too at some point. And so this is a little adios for the summertime while I regulate my nervous system, which is in shambles, and a little adios while I take a moment to revel and enjoy the fact that my spark is back-ish. All of that to say, cheers to Nico Hulkenberg. Cheers to the 10th episode of the Free Genies Project podcast. And cheers to every single one of us that is brave enough to take a break, regroup, and come back stronger for our goals. As always, take what you need, leave what you don't, and make this journey entirely yours. If something in this episode resonated, please let me know. Leave a review, share your thoughts in the comments, or DM me over at the Free Genies Project on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, adios.